Hi, and welcome to Reading Between the Lines. I am your host, the Water Dog, and today I'm continuing my series on playing with a one vampire crypt. We've been concentrating on the 8-cap vampire as doing our fun shenanigans. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at some equipment that you can use for this type of play style. And then we're going to look at 3 vampires and kind of break them down just a little bit for you. So let's get started. Our first piece of equipment is the flaming candle. Now, only one flaming candle can be played or equipped in a game. Now, that's key to catch now. Only one flaming candle can be played or equipped in a game. This vampire can burn 1 blood, and the flaming candle, as they announce an action to make that action unblockable by vampires. Not a lot of players play with this card. And so what's really good about this is that this is your I got to get a win condition through. I've got to get a bleed through. I've got to get a vote through. I got to get a combat through. I got to get some sort of action through. And you can use this flaming candle. Now, only one can be used during the game. I have never, in my entire time that I've played this game, have ever had flaming candles where, somebody else was trying to get one into the game. Never. So if I brought it, I was the only one that's ever brought it. And I have never seen anybody but one player my entire time play with this flaming candle. So it's a very seldom used card. But it's a great card for this particular deck idea, simply because you've got to have an extra win condition, and makes it unblockable. So it's really, 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 really good in that aspect. The other thing is, once again, I always go back, it doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. You just equip it, and then all of a sudden now you've got a way to get through get your action through and go on. So good card. Flaming Candle. Our next card is Incriminating Videotape. It's an equipment. Choose a minion your prey controls. The chosen minion cannot block the minion with this equipment. Cost you 1 pull. This is kind of, I built this, years ago, where I put 12 incriminating videotapes into the deck, where I just simply had I basically was like a 2 or 3 vampire crypt, really is what it was. And basically I just put them in incriminating videotapes just to keep my prey from responding. My prey couldn't respond. It is dangerous because it does cost you the pull. But the good thing about this card is, especially in a 1 vampire crypt, is that it's not a unique piece of equipment. So since it's not unique, you can stack them on it. Okay, so you can put incriminating videotape, and basically you're the Donald Trump of of keeping everybody in line with your incriminating videotape, because he's got to have videotape on all these people to get them to side with him. That's something I can think of. But in any case, it's a good fun card like that. And like I said, it just prevents the action. So really good. Our next card is Learjet. It's vehicle. Each time you draw to replace a card this minion played as an active minion, you may draw an additional card, discard afterward. A minion may have only 1 vehicle. Cost you 1 pull. This is just a great cycling card. Just a really good cycling card. You put it on your vampire, and you just, so whenever you basically draw to replace, you're drawing 2. So it allows you to cycle through cards, okay? And the cost, 1 pull, hey, that's good. So this is a good vehicle for your vampire. Once again, card cycle, really, really good. Our next card is Leather Jacket. It's an equipment. If the action to equip with the Leather Jacket is successful, unblock the active minion at the end of the turn. Bearer may burn Leather Jacket to prevent all the damage from the opposing minion strike. I mean, you may have only 1 Leather Jacket. Now, this is a pretty, common card. It's played a lot. And usually when I try to show you cards, I try to show you cards that you probably don't play with as often. That's one of the things I do like to do, is try to show you things that maybe you don't play with all the time, that just give these cards a chance. Once again, when you're playing casually and you're just trying to have fun, play with things that you don't normally play with, and see if that is something that will fall into your toolbox later. But with Leather Jacket, what I like about it is it protects your vampire, and once again, once you've equipped with it, you unlock. So it's an action, okay, that you can put on for protection and then unlock. Okay, So that's what's good about it. So putting a couple other jackets in the deck for a one vampire crypt is good. So I just wanted to mention that that's a pretty much a staple card when I'm playing a one vampire crypt. Our next card, Light Intensifying Goggles. It's electronic. The bearer gets one optional maneuver during the first round of combat. You can move any aim card the bearer uses to this card face up and out of play, even if it is canceled. The bearer can play an aim card on this equipment as if from your hand. It is then removed from the game. All right. This is basically the better brother of IR goggles. Because IR goggles is an electronic equipment. The minion gets an optional maneuver each combat, right? Okay. Well, let's go back now and look at light intensifying goggles. You get the optional maneuver during the first round of combat, but you get an aim card. Okay. And so you can put that aim card on there, and now you've got an extra thing. So that target vitals now is lock and loaded. Okay. So you're ready to roll with it. So this card is basically a step up. Once again, another great thing about it, don't cost you anything. Gosh, this is just a good card. It doesn't cost you anything, and you're going to get a maneuver out of it. You're going to be able to place an aim card on there, and so it allows you to basically use the same card over. I like it. Really good card. Our next card is Palatial Estate. It's an equipment card that represents a location and does not count as equipment while in play. Unique. During your master phase, the vampire with this location gains 1 blood. Cost you 2 blood. Palatial State used to be a common card that was played a lot. I mean, I would see it a whole heck of a lot when it first came out. And I'm trying to remember, but I want to say it came out like during Dark Sovereigns, Ancient Hearts. It came out during that particular time, so it was out pretty early. Okay, and I used to play with it a lot, and I don't play with it as much as I used to. But in this format of just using a one vampire, it's just basically a hunting ground for you. Okay, it's a hunting ground, and it's permanent. So the nice thing is you put it on there, and get you an extra blood for your vampire during your master phase, and so you can use a hunting ground and the palatial estate. So now all of a sudden you're putting 2 blood back up on your vampire, which is really, really good. So palatial estate, good card. Our next piece of equipment is the Signet of King Saul. Unique. Vampires with capacity 8 or more cannot attempt to block the bearer. Cost you 1 pool. Now, this card is just really going to depend upon what I'm trying to do. If I'm playing really a bleed political vampire, I like this card in my one vampire crypt. Okay, so if I'm doing really some bleeds and if I'm doing some political actions, okay, if I'm a compact vampire, I don't care. I don't care who I'm fighting. Okay, you can give me the biggest, baddest boy out there, and let's just see let's say the best vampire wins. Okay, so it doesn't bother me there. But if I am playing like a bleed a vote deck, I don't want to have to run into one of these big boys that you have to deal with. Okay, so playing the Signet of King Saul helps you with that. Okay, good piece of equipment for that, and so that way it allows you to get past that particular problem of having to deal with the bigger, badder boys that could end up putting you in torpor and taking you out for a while. So using the Signet of King Saul is really good for your vampires, or should I say for your one vampire, especially if he's going to be doing a lot of bleed and voting actions. So it's really good for that. Our last piece of equipment that we're going to look at is the Tapestry of Blood. It's a unique equipment. This vampire can look at the top 3 cards of any Methuselah's library and burn up to 1 of those as a +1 stealth action that costs 1 blood. If that action is successful, this vampire unlocks at the end of the turn. The vampire gains 1 blood when a Gehenna event is played. All right. Now, the first thing is that you can take that stealth action and you can look at any Methuselah's library, and that includes your own. Okay, so if you wanted to use this card to stack your own cards, then you can do that. Okay, then of course you can then use this in conjunction with Gehenna events, because if you needed to gain a blood and you wanted to use the Gehenna events, because there's a lot of good event cards and stuff like that you can use, especially if you are playing the one vampire crypt idea, that you can then play to put a blood onto your vampire. So it's really, really good in that. And once again, I like card cycling. It does cost you blood to do this, but it is a good card cycling card, and it's a unique piece of equipment. And once again, this is a card that you're not going to see a lot of. So it's doubtful that you would ever contest this card. I mean, there's not too many people that are going to be running around playing Tapestry of Blood. Okay, so putting that card into play allows you once again to cycle through your library, which is really, really good. All right, let's get to some vampires. Here we go. Let's get started with our first one. Eridan, Gangrel, Camarilla. Blood hunts cannot be called on Eridan +1 hunt. She's got inferior chemistry, superior animalism, superior fortitude, superior protean. She is built to kill. Love this. Just love it. Just built to kill. Great thing, blood hunts can't be called. So you can just go out and eat vampires. Okay, so the great thing about her is you just get yourself into a combat with Protean. Of course, you're going to have aggravated damage. You send them to Topor, and then you unlock with your Freak Drive, and then you just then go eat. That's it. That's what she does. Kills vampires. Kills them. And you should have a whole lot of success using her, to destroy, either your prey or predators, vampires, with her. She's just really, really good. That's what she's designed to do. So just have her go do it. So for her, it's just fun. She's just a combat vampire that eats vampires, and you can't go wrong with that. So, and the great thing is, of course, with the with the animalism, you've got a lot of combat tricks that you're going to be able to play. And of course, you can do the great, which I think 8 for Bats is just one of the greatest cards in the game to use for combat. And just continue just to press and kill and press and kill and stuff like that. You got your wolf claws, you got your target vitals, and you just, she just will wreck. A lot of fun, good combat vampire. Our next vampire, Mordecai Ben Nun. Harbinger of Skulls. Sabat, +1 intercept. Got 4 great superior abilities: animalism, aspects, fortitude, and necromancy. This guy is born to block. It's exactly what he is. He is just born to block. Got that +1 intercept, and really, to me, when you're playing him and you're just setting up to play defense with him, it's Eagle Sight, 8 for Bats, Carrion Crows, play game. Just stop whatever action you want to stop and just go. Just realize, Eagle Sight, 8 for Bats, Carrion Crows, and just go kill vampires. He's great. This guy is good in just about any deck. He's a really good tournament vampire as well. Don't forget about having that Auspex that does the other thing. Is the Auspex gives you the bounce bleed. Okay, so it gives you the bounce bleed. So you have bounce bleed by having that ability of Auspex, and don't forget about the necromancy, because not only does it give you the intercept, it also gives you some stealth. There's just a lot of little things that you can do with necromancy that's going to add to him. So he brings a lot of flavor to the concept of using just one vampire. Okay, by having that necromancy, ability on him. Okay, so really, really, really good vampire, good for blocking. Like I said, to me, Eagle Sight is just the main card for him that you would use. Because he's already got the +1 built-in intercept, so you just become an intercepting machine, and you just, you could just kill and bounce bleeds, and like I said, for me, he's really good at playing the reaction game. So you don't have to do a lot of actions with him. What you can do is you can take, you take your time with him, and you can use him for reaction to destroy vampires, and then go on the offensive whenever you feel like it. So he's really good for that. Our last vampire, Titus Camille. He is a Ventru and Ticherbrew. Sabat. Titus can steal equipment from a minion controlled by your predator or prey as a D action, +1 strength. Inferior fortitude, superior aspect, superior dominate, superior obfuscate. This guy is really good because this is really what he is he's just your bleed machine. Your bleed bounce machine is exactly what he is. Okay. And by having that superior dominate, you're able to avoid a lot of combat problems when you use him, okay? Because let's not forget that with that superior dominate, you're going to be able to play one of my favorite cards. It's a card that, that I used to see a whole lot of, but it's not a card that I see that much of anymore, and that's obedience. Uh, you know, because obedience, what it does is it just simply allows you to end the action, so you can block. Okay, and so before you enter combat, you just simply end the action. Okay, the other great thing about using obedience is that the acting vampire doesn't unlock. That's superior. So the acting vampire doesn't unlock, and so you can take advantage of that. So it's a really, really, really good card. He plays well with Titus. So with the Auspex and the Dominate, you either bounce and bleeds. You can also stop actions. You can then use obedience to stay out of the combat, and then when it's your turn, you can, if you've got a discipline card on him, you can now govern down. You can then do some bleeding. So there's just a lot of fun things that you can do with him, where you're just, with that one vampire, he can do that thing. So he's the bleed machine for me. You can simply use him, like I said, to really do a good job of bouncing the bleeds, and then of course he can bleed himself. Good vampire for that in that formula. Well, folks, that's all I got time for. I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm going to continue. I've got one more I'm going to do with this philosophy here, this style of play. Until then, I'll see you next time. Y'all take care. You watched the whole video? Congratulations. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Reading Between the Lines. I'm your host, The Water Dog, and if you like what you've been watching, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Y'all take care.